Hi, my name's Sarah Donoghue and welcome to Project Fitness TV. Today I thought I would cover triathlons through the eyes of a novice, myself. Now, if you're thinking of doing a triathlon, it means you're already fit. It means you're already a competent swimmer, runner and cyclist. Now, you've also done some research on these, and through research you know that you don't have to do the full Olympic size triathlon. They're short triathlons, either known as half triathlons or sprint triathlons, and they're about half the size of the Olympic. So with that, you would do around a half a mile swim. Every single triathlon is a little bit different. So you would do around a half a mile swim, around a 15-mile bike ride, and then finally you would do a 3 or 4 mile run. And you think, well, I can do that, but can you put them all together and do it? The answer is yes, you can. And I think when you've done it once, you will be hooked and you will do it again because the feeling is exhilarating. You're not going for that gold medal, you're going for the completion. And even when you come in after doing this, you don't think, well, what place did I come in? You know what? Because you don't care, you're just so happy to have finished your first. And then I promise you, you will be hooked. Now, when it comes to training for these, you think, well, the running, I run all the time, that's fine. Now, if you run and you run on a treadmill or in the park and you're running on soft ground, what I will say that even though it's only a 3 or 4 mile run, if you're not used to running on the road, get some road time in because of your joints. And remember, running on a treadmill or running in the fields on the grass is very different than running on a hard surface because of your joints. So be careful with that. So put some extra time in, but do it on a hard surface. With bike riding, this is just from my opinion, I didn't practice on a bike just for the simple reason I've ridden a bike since I was a kid all the way through to living in London. So I'm very competent on a bike, but the main reason was that it was impossible for me to get time on a bike because I wouldn't have had the bike that you would have in a triathlon, but that doesn't matter, and I'll get to that in a moment. But living in central London, we have no long sweeping roads. The cars don't go further. When I say cars, I mean bikes as well. Sometimes we can't go faster than 5 miles an hour. There's traffic lights everywhere. It can be very dangerous. So for me, training on a bike would have been very, very difficult. But if you live in the countryside, that's great. Now, when you go there and you think, oh, I don't have a bike that I can do a triathlon with, or you don't have a bike at all, there's many bike sponsors that sponsor that triathlon. And if you don't have a bike, there's hundreds of people that just contact the organisers and then they request a bike and you will pay for that bike. It's not overly expensive, but don't worry if you haven't got a bike, all that can be sorted out with your entry fee. So we've got the bike sorted and we've got the running sorted, and both those in effect are marginally easy. I mean, it's not easy when you're doing everything back to back, but the swimming. So I'm a very strong swimmer, a very competent swimmer. I've swam all my life, competitive swimming. I'm a beach lifeguard and a swim instructor. And I could swim before I could walk. And I'm an endurance swimmer as well. So I thought, well, the swimming for me will be the easiest bit. I was so wrong. So the swimming is the most difficult bit. And as I say, I class myself as a very powerful, strong swimmer. What you don't realise is that when you're in a swimming pool, of course, you've got your lane. There's going to be no one touching you. And if someone was touching you in the practice lanes at the pool, you know, you would stop and maybe say, oh, could you not get too close to me? Oh, there's no time for that when you're doing a triathlon. So silly me, put myself right in the front runners as I went in because I'm a strong swimmer, so I knew I was going to be up at the front. And the thing was, I was up at the front and I wished I'd have held back. So even if you're a strong swimmer, your mindset will not be able to get around exactly what it's like being right at the front of the pack of these vicious, hard swimmers, all after that gold medal. So don't do it, hang back. When you get to the halfway point, there's hundreds and hundreds of swimmers in there. And when you get to the halfway point, there's a turn mark that you're going to go around. And so many people are going for that same area. They all start to close in, and it's very difficult to breathe. And as people are swimming, they're touching you, they're almost swimming on top of your legs. Yes, seriously, there's no manners when it comes to a triathlon. Not being rude to the triathletes out there, but there isn't. And it's a very daunting experience for a newcomer. So just hold back. Now, when I swim a stroke like front crawl, which everyone does during a triathlon, unless you get very tired, and some people are swimming breaststroke, and that's fine, then I would normally swim and take 4 breaths. When I did the triathlons, I've now realised that there's no point coming up for a breath after 4 strokes, because I'm going to take on more water than I am air. So I actually keep my breath and I don't breathe for 8 strokes. And it's something that you will learn, but you're much better off keeping back. Now, training for that, of course, train in a swimming pool. Absolutely. Get the miles in, so to speak, in a swimming pool. But the best place to train for that is absolutely on the coast. I didn't do that because I didn't realise what a crazy experience it was going to be in the water. After my first triathlon, I knew how difficult that swim was. So I went down to the coast. I swam in choppy water. So I was used to that experience. The Fastnet was in a harbour. So not only did I have a little bit of chop in the harbour, but I also had 100 swimmers, all going to the same place as me. So you've just got to be very careful. Now you're going to put all those 3 things together and you're going to come back in and you are going to feel brilliant. Make sure that when you swim, you do wear a wetsuit, keeps you warm and of course buoyant, and make sure you wear a hat as well, because it all adds to buoyancy and you need all the help you can get. But when you do get back in from completing this triathlon, your first triathlon, you are going to feel incredible. You're going to feel empowered. You're almost going to feel superhuman, because it's going to be one of the most wonderful experiences you've ever had. And you can't wait to get to the bar and just have a beer with your friends. I ran in a team, so it was great for me. We were all very individual when we were there, competed individually, but we went as a team. So the great thing was the bar banter at night and discussing about how you nearly drowned during the swim. So can you do a triathlon? Absolutely you can. You go for the mini triathlon, the sprint triathlon, and you have a really good time. And if you can do it with friends, do. But again, make sure when you train, when you run, you practice on a hard surface. If you can get a bike and you've got long sweeping roads, fantastic, get the mileage in. But if you can't get the mileage in, or you live somewhere like central London or a city centre, it is difficult, then you've just got to take that for what it is. And don't worry about a bike. They can be supplied to you. You just contact the organisers. And the swim, just get as much practice as you can, but make sure you practice in choppy water. Make sure you know that the swimmers will be on you, behind you, next to you, in front of you, and the water is everywhere, because it can be really quite traumatic if you're not a brilliant swimmer, or of course, you're not used to it. Well, I hope that's given you an insight, and enjoy your first triathlon.